Okay, so it's 2025, and you have decided that this is the year that you're going to start your clothing brand. So let's talk about the 5 things I think you should be thinking about before you even start creating anything. So let's discuss. Next, here on Making the Brand. What's up, everybody? Rob Norman here from Planet Brooklyn Academy, and this is Making the Brand Season 2, the series where I give you a little insider knowledge on how to start a clothing brand, and if you already have one, how to make it better. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything I drop when it drops. Okay, so 5 things that you should be considering while starting your clothing brand. Well, first off, it's never a bad time to start a clothing brand. Right now, with the internet, you have so many possibilities and there's so many more consumers you can reach out to. So it is the perfect time to start. So let's talk about a couple of things you should be considering. First of all, think about the landscape of fashion. It has been shifting greatly over the last couple of years, and this year makes no difference. One of the biggest things changing in fashion is that a lot of people are shifting to AI. Now, as we know, AI has become very prevalent in our day-to-day, with helping writing copy to helping us create images. But the fashion industry has started to shift over into it a little bit more because there's a lot of aspects of AI that they don't talk about. So for instance, there's AI programs that allow you to take your designs and put them on garments or actual bodies so you can see how it will look, how it will drape. So instead of having to pay someone to design it for you so you can look at it and make changes, you can actually do it on the computer, make the changes, and then send it out to the factory to be made. I don't have any lists for those programs off the top of my head, but I will try to leave that for you in the comment section for you to check out, or leave it in information for you to look for those programs. But there are programs that help you to do those things and make your life a little bit easier for designing. So AI is shifting in that way of helping people actually create images. Now, there's also AI programs that help you take your designs and put them into actual environments. So I've had students who actually created their designs for their brands and then took it and put it into an AI program that actually created whole photo shoots for them with their items, which is amazing. So it helps them, for people who don't have access to photographers or don't have the money to pay models, we're able to create these real scenario environments with their actual garments. So the stuff they actually designed, they were able to use and put it into a setting. So this is where AI is going right now. So something you should be thinking about if you don't have the budget to actually pay people to do certain things, this may help for you. Now, another thing that has been going on still in the landscape of things shifting is that there are more people creating brands for more niche markets. And not so much mass. And that's another thing that I think is very important, is that creating for a more niche market, you have a greater chance of success. When you're creating for mass, you're trying to create for everybody, you're trying to appease everybody, but you can't. And when you're in mass, that means there are a lot more brands in the market, so you're competing more heavily with them. When you go to a more niche, you're going to a much smaller area where you can really focus on the people. It's kind of like the difference between fishing in the ocean and fishing in a pond. You have a greater opportunity in a pond because you know how much area you have to fish in, and you know how much you can get from there. Where in the ocean, it's much bigger, and yes, there's a lot more opportunity to get fish in it, but you may not be in the right area of the ocean where there's a population of fish there. So you see my comparison with that? So being a niche brand, if you want to niche down and say, let me focus on creating a women's streetwear brand. I've been a big advocate of this for years because there are hardly any women's streetwear brands. Everybody wants to do streetwear, but no one is doing women's streetwear, and women are the biggest consumers. So it would make sense that if you wanted to create a niche brand, go into women's streetwear. There you will have the attention of people who want your brand, and you're not competing with everybody else out there. Also, the beauty of that when you niche down is that you have a dedicated following that will truly stick with you. When you're mass, you have people coming in and out, people who will support you for now, and then a new brand comes along and then they will leave you for that brand. So it's a little more volatile when you're dealing with mass, when you're dealing with niche. So again, if you're thinking about starting something, think about going that route. Again, women's streetwear, children's streetwear, children's wear, period, is a great market to go into. Plus size. There's a lot of little niche areas you can consider going into, but this is something that I really think is part of the first thing of the landscape of fashion that has been changing. Now, the second thing, the role of technology. Now, as I said before, AI has been playing a big part in the shift of things. But as a second point, AI is also being integrated into a lot of the platforms, especially e-commerce platforms. So it helps you greatly. So now you don't have to think about when you're uploading your images to, say, something like Shopify. You don't have to try to think about creative ways to describe your product. You have to now, all you gotta do is put in there and tell them what the product is and it will write it. What I recommend is when you're using AI, learn to use AI, what's the word I want to use? Use AI more creatively. What I'm noticing is that I see a lot of people who use AI just like straight out of the box. They ask it to describe something and it describes it, but it sounds very generic. And you can tell when someone uses AI versus someone who has used AI as an assistant. AI is nothing more than an assistant. So when you're using it, you ask it, for example, say, describe this sweatshirt for me. My sweatshirt that I am selling is a navy blue sweatshirt with screen print on the front, and I need to make it sound very, very engaging and very, exciting. And AI will generate that for you. But what you need to do is go back into it and then say, all right, whatever description they give you, say, I like that, but I need you to give me a little bit more about how this product is geared towards collegiate, students, or this is geared towards people who are more into, a certain kind of sport or listen to this kind of music. It will then generate and make it more detailed so it sounds more personable, not so generic. So as you're using AI on these platforms, really talk to it as if it's an assistant. A little side note, if you go on ChatGPT, you can actually give it a name. So you can ask ChatGPT, can I give you a name? And it will allow you. For example, when I use it, I call her Veronica, and it responds to me when I say, hello, Veronica, it answers. So you can really make it personable. And this is what I'm talking about. When you make it personable, it relates back to you. So just don't use it straight out the box. So this is one of the things that has been changing with AI and technology. The other thing is social media. Social media is also adding AI greatly into it. And that's something that you have to think about how you're going to use AI when it comes to your social media, because now it's able to write concepts for you. It's able to outline things for you. So you may not have time because you may be a solo person in your company. You may not have a full staff. But again, AI is an assistant. So allow it to help you write your posts, be able to tell you creative things to say for your posts and your imagery. Allow it to help you say things for when you're putting it on your site. Use it in that way. Just don't use it as just another tool that helps create images. Use it as an assistant, something or someone that you don't have to pay. Okay? Now, 3, current challenges in the market you need to consider. Things you need to consider about in the market right now is pricing. We have a new president and he wants to start, adding tariffs to things. This is going to hurt big for everybody, in the consumer market and in the retail business space. So your prices are going to be a lot higher for you when you're buying blanks or you're buying fabric. It's going to cost you more. So you're going to have to go up on pricing. So you have to start thinking about how much product you're going to create. As a new company, I always tell people, you do not need to go out there and do a full line. You can start off, honestly, I believe one item is the best thing to start with sometimes. The max as a new brand, 5 items. Start with 5. But one, if you can get one good concept out there and you hammer it in, especially if you're doing t-shirts. You have a great concept as a t-shirt, you do that one t-shirt and you put it out and you do it in different colors, you do it in different fonts or whatever. You just keep pounding out that one item and you do it for maybe a season and then change into something new in the next season. The thing is branding, letting people know about you for one item. And once you're known for that one item, then branch out and start doing other things. One, economically, it'll save your pockets. So you don't have to worry about spending out for all this stuff. And 2, it gives people a chance to really get to know your brand for something more than mass. It's known for this one particular thing. And then you branch out. So something you need to consider about. Other thing is that oversaturation of the market. Much like I'm telling you right now how to create a brand in 2025, there are hundreds of other videos telling you the exact same thing, but they're telling you how to print, how to do this. So everybody's doing it and everybody's watching these videos. So they're out there trying to create these brands. So the market is getting oversaturated. So how do you navigate in the market that's oversaturated? Which kind of goes back to the second thing I just mentioned to you, is that talking about those niche markets. Go for these niche markets. Start looking at those. If you have never thought about this, think about this now. Try to find these pockets of areas that you can succeed in and don't have to worry about the overburdenness of trying to stand out in this oversaturated market. All right. Sorry, I got caught in my throat. So number 4, really thinking about the opportunities you have as an independent brand. There are a lot of opportunities right now. So first of all, you can save money with your brand if you go out there and with your website, you can do pre-orders. So pre-orders help new brands like yourselves very greatly because you don't have to buy a lot of product. You don't have to buy any product. So if you do pre-orders with your new brand and you say, hey, if you start now and say that first orders will ship out in May, it gives you a chance to see how many people are actually ordering your product. It also gives you a chance to promote it to get enough people to buy it. Because by the time you know it takes maybe 3 weeks for production, you know within 3 weeks before that launch date that you're supposed to ship, you will know how much product you need to have. Plus, you get the money up front when you do pre-orders. So that's the beauty of doing pre-orders. So great opportunity for you guys is that you have pre-orders. Start thinking about that. A lot of people, first thing they do with a clothing brand is like, oh, I got to produce all this garment, and I got to do all this stuff. And then you're sitting there with product trying to figure out how to move it. Smart thing to do is start with pre-orders. That way, nothing comes out of your pocket. You can gauge how much product you need to make, and you can focus on just marketing and designing. And then once you have the money, you start producing and ship out. Makes your life so much easier. So consider that. The other thing we need to talk about is direct to consumer. That's another major thing right now that is great for up and coming designers and new brands out there, because you going directly to the consumer by stepping other stores. Now, in past videos, I've talked about how you can increase sales by selling to other stores, but right now, direct to consumer is your best option. Now, one of the biggest things happening, especially in technology, is that we have, everybody's selling on TikTok because TikTok is back up. They're selling on TikTok, you're selling on Instagram, you're selling on YouTube. You can sell everywhere. But right now, there's another platform that's about to be big. It started last year, and this year I see it going even more heavily, getting bigger, is that people are going to be selling directly live. Now, we already know people have been selling live, but there's a new twist to this. Now, if you all know how you watch Home Shopping Network and you can watch it and you can order things, well, there is another series like that online. There's a .com show, I think it's called whatnot.com, where you can sell product there streaming live. People are making thousands of dollars right now on that, selling live. And that's going to be the big movement. So again, it's the direct to consumer selling. And this platform is going to be big. Yes, you can do the same thing on YouTube. You can do the same thing on TikTok. You can do all that, sell live. But this platform is a little bit different. Look into it, but it's a great opportunity for you to sell product that you have already on hand. You can start doing it. So again, if you're just starting your clothing brand and maybe you're hand making things and you want to just sell it live, you can do it that way. So start considering that. Now, the fifth and last thing is more of kind of things that you should just think about. It's more tips. First of all, you need to start thinking about building community. Stop worrying about, oh, I got this idea. I want to just sell this t-shirt. I want to sell that. That's great and all for one-shot offs, but what you need to build is community. Build a story around your brand, something that people can come around and support, because when they have a good story that they like, they support the brand. So you want to make sure that you get that out there. The other thing you want to do is your USP, unique selling point. What is your unique selling point? Why should people buy your brand? What's so special about it? Yes, we talked about an oversaturated market. So you have to sit down and write out all the things that make you unique and special. And once you can figure that out, then you can structure everything else around that. And again, once you do that, you can start thinking about all the things you want to do in your community, as far as your community of your brand. Last but not least, in that same section, start thinking about other ways to sell. Not just online and just streaming. Also think about pop-up shops. Think about other platforms you can sell on Pinterest, Etsy. Look at those things. Do Google searches of other platforms to sell on, because there's a lot out there that people are bypassing, that they're just going to the mainstream ones. So look at other ones that people aren't really talking about, but have great potential for you to make a lot of money on. All right, so those are the 5 things you guys should be thinking about when you're creating your clothing brand this year. Now, I will be doing a new series in the next couple of weeks, which will be launching. It'll be a 6-part series where I'm telling you how to actually launch a clothing brand piece by piece. So every week I'll give you another little tidbit of information, just focusing on different key parts of building a brand in 6 episodes. So look for that coming up in the coming weeks. But as for now, I hope this has been helpful, and I will speak to you guys in the next video. All right, peace.